What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a few months since my last upload. I've been super busy, just working on a lot of different projects. As you guys can see, we have a whole plethora full of projects here at the house, and a lot of these projects are going to be popping up, or a few of the projects are going to be popping up on the channel alongside the Jeep. So it might not be just Jeep content, it might be some older projects such as the 66. Behind that is my truck, the 59. We also got the red Jeep here as well, and maybe even the Travco. I'm not sure yet, but I just wanted to come on here really quickly before the video starts and say I apologize for not being on the channel. Like I said, been super busy, but y'all aren't here for an apology, and y'all aren't here to hear me talk about all this different kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump in to today's video. So as you can see by the title and the stuff behind me, we are servicing the front and rear differentials on Project Raptor today. So this will be a service or a Jeep maintenance for all 2007 through 2018 Jeep JK and JKUs alike. It doesn't matter if it's a Rubicon, a Sport, Unlimited Sport, Sahara, whatever. This will be for all of the Wranglers. Now, let's go ahead and jump into what you guys need for this maintenance. All right, everything we need is on the ground and right here in front of us. So I'm gonna go through everything that you guys need. So you will need a torque wrench. For me, this is a 1/2-inch torque wrench, but the plugs on the diffs are 3/8 inch. So I've got a 1/2-inch to 3/8 adapter here as well. You will need some sort of a razor blade or a knife of some sort. I'm just going to be using an X-Acto knife. Hopefully that works. A flathead screwdriver, a 13mm socket, and for me it's a 3/8 inch because I will be using my Milwaukee M12 Impact. A knife of some sort. It does not have to be this fancy. You will need your gear oil to put back in. I'm using Valvoline's 75W90. Now, they use 75W90 for trailer towing in the rear axle, but I'm going to be putting it in both my front and rear axle. You will lose maybe just a hair of gas mileage if you use this in both axles, but I'm not really worried about it because, as you know, I have 37-inch tires and I don't really have really good gas mileage to begin with. So this doesn't really matter to me at all. So, and I will link the two different kinds of gear oil that you will need for your Jeep, and how much of it to get, along with part numbers and everything. I've got 4 quarts here, and I've got the appropriate gaskets as well. Also below me here, you will need a drain pan. That's too big of a drain pan, but you can never have one too big. And brake clean, and maybe just a couple rags and gloves if you don't want to get your hands dirty, but I don't mind that. So you can either get gaskets made by Felpro or another brand, or you can use RTV, aka Gasket Maker. And in this instance, I'm just going to be using the gaskets alongside some RTV just to have it stick a little bit better and create a nice good seal. So you will also need, if you do use just the gaskets, you will also need some RTV, aka Gasket Maker. So let's go ahead and jump into taking apart the front axle. All right, guys, so coming underneath the Jeep by the front axle, as you guys can see, I've got a little bit of a fluid buildup right there on the bottom of the pumpkin, aka the diff. But it's not from the diff cover leaking. It is from behind that, the pinion seal, which is coming from right there where the drive shaft is connected to the diff. And we will be doing a pinion seal replacement on this Jeep eventually here soon, because it is leaking pretty bad, and we'll be doing that on the channel. So first things first, put your drain pan underneath your pumpkin, and there's 2 ways to drain the fluid. One, you can go behind the diff right on the back side of the axle, drain the fluid out, or you can do what I'm going to do and just take all the bolts out and pry the cover away from the diff and drain it that way. So the first thing we're going to do is take off all the bolts except one from the diff. Okay, so I've gotten all the bolts out except one, as you guys can see in the top right there. So with this bolt, I've got it loosened just a little bit, but it's not all the way out. And next I'm going to take a flathead screwdriver and see if I can pry that diff cover away from the diff itself and drain all of that fluid out. All right, once all the fluid's out, you can go ahead and remove that last bolt and remove your diff cover entirely. And the next thing that we're going to do after that is we're going to go ahead and go all in there with some brake clean and clean this whole entire thing up of the diff. And go ahead and do the same thing to your diff cover. And once that's done, you can go around the edge or the entirety of your diff cover and the diff itself and remove all of that old gasket off of there, or all of the old gasket maker as well. So we can go ahead and do that now. All right, so once that surface is cleaned up alongside your entire diff, next thing you're gonna do is for me, I'm gonna grab my gasket. You can use this gasket maker as well. You can use red, ultra black, or black, it doesn't really matter. And we're gonna go ahead and put our gasket on. And the way we're gonna do that for the gasket, if you're just gonna use gasket maker, you can smear it on in a good thick bead all the way around, and then smooth it out around your diff, and then go ahead and stick it back on to your diff. But for me, I'm gonna put a little bead around, stick it on there, put the gasket on, stick it onto the diff cover, and then put some more. So say it sits like that, right? I'm gonna put a bead gasket maker around the edge, inside edge here, so I can just get a little bit more seal to it. And once that is completely covered, I'll stick it back onto the front of the diff. So we got the diff cover back on there, bolted up, and everything's all tightened down, and the gasket sealer is on there as well. I went ahead and put some gasket sealer around the edge as well, just to give it an extra seal. And I haven't tightened anything down to spec yet. I'm waiting for it to dry just a little bit more before I do that. And then we'll put the fluid in and move on to the rear. Hey guys, real quick, I want to intervene in this video and say that after we got the diff cover back on there, and the gasket maker and everything, the gasket and everything was all tightened down, but before I put the fluid in, I let that gasket maker seal for about 2 hours. So it was about 4:30 when I got everything done on there without the fluid going in. And at about 6:30, I'm gonna go out there and put the fluid in the front diff. So just make sure whatever gasket maker, I say gasket sealer, it's basically the same thing, but whatever gasket maker that you have, just make sure you look at the instructions and see how long it takes to dry. So it takes a certain amount of time for it to dry, and then it takes a certain amount of time for it to cure completely. So I've got the Permatex Ultra Black is what I use. So it takes about 2 hours to dry, and it takes about 24 hours to cure. So we're gonna wait 2 hours, and then I'm gonna go out there and we can finish up the front diff. All right guys, so to fill this thing, I know it doesn't look that pretty, but it's okay. I'm not gonna be seeing this much down here. Now, this is our fill plug right here, and to get that out, we're just gonna be using a socket. I wouldn't recommend using an impact on that because it could strip out the threads on this plug. So take a 3/8 inch drive wrench, and we can go ahead and loosen that up and start filling our fluid. Now, when you fill your fluid in there, like I said, I'll put it up on screen or in the description box below how much each diff takes depending on your model. Whenever you're filling fluid up in here, always just make sure you have a drain pan below it, just to make sure you don't get anything on the surface that you're working on. Or if you don't care, I mean, you don't care. Also, when it's full, you'll be able to tell because it'll start spilling out the bottom of the plug, and it'll keep dripping off of the pumpkin or the diff itself. So once that's done, you can go ahead and put this back on here and torque each of the drain plugs. Even if you did take out the drain plug on the back and the fill plug, you tighten them down to 25 foot-pounds, or just tighten them down until you feel it's secure. and we can go ahead and close out this video. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. As you guys can see, it is getting a little dark outside. Looks like it's about to storm. I'm only gonna show you guys the front diff because the rear diff is the exact same process. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this video out. If you guys enjoyed and if I helped you out in any way, shape, or form, hit the like button. Comment down below maintenance videos would you guys like to see on this channel, and to help you guys out a little bit more. More videos are on the way, guys. Trust me. Stay tuned. Subscribe for more videos. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.